V314 V314-13ad Radio. Listen. Oh. I had to boost off for a minute because I'm thinking about what I talked about in the past within 24 hours today. And I'm like, damn. Gotta go, gotta. I went in today. I went the fuck in today. Did I not? Jeez. I went in so bad. Not so bad. I just was like, whoa. That was a lot. I even went back into something. Okay? Okay, went back into something. Let's see something. Okay, there we go. And I had come to realize that I'm onto something here. And everything that I was talking about is the very reason people write the books like Dark Psychology, 40 Manipulation Tactics, and the things that they do. This is why people who are studiers of dark psychology are studiers of stoicism. This is why it's all together. You have to know what's best to keep secret in your life. Okay? What's best to keep secret, which is best to keep sacred and kept from secretion. Because your mouth secretes saliva when you speak. So secret, sacred, secretion, all is connected as a word together. And see, that term, no weapons formed against me shall prosper, is actually talking about the tongue, people's bad juju, people's gossip. It's not a physical weapon. It's the tongue is a weapon. The tongue is life and death. You can speak life. You can say things that can heal and inspire, and you can also hurt and destroy with your tongue. And trust me, those that spend more time hurting and destroying with their tongue are only hurting and destroying within, are only fighting their own inner turmoil. Because, listen, people, at the end of the day, I want you to all be thankful for the people you have crossed paths with. I'm going to say it all the time. Be thankful that you know that these kind of people exist. And don't let anyone try to take away from you what you have experienced. You saw the pattern of people that gave me problems throughout my life, all short and dark skin. Short and dark skin, or dark skin, but mainly short and dark skin, but they're still dark skin. They give me problem. They give me grief. They give themselves grief and they give everybody else grief. And no one can take away that experience from me. And I noticed that if I'm dealing with someone who's light skinned, if they have a dark skinned parent or mother, I get a bit of the same type of experience as a short, dark skinned person. And the pattern continues to go on. And no one's going to take away that experience from me. No one's going to tell me what my experience is not, just like no one can tell you what yours is. The movies show you this, TV show you this, your day-to-day life outside can show you this. Every time you see a woman getting her ass beat on some racism, wild shit, it is always a dark-skinned woman or a short, dark-skinned woman. Every time. Test me on that. Or a short, dark-skinned man or a dark-skinned man. Test me on that. Even people who fuck them. Look at their behaviors. Look how ill they are. Look at their sicknesses. Look at their misery. You gonna tell me I'm making that up? They have no boundaries. I'm not here to spew insults, but I'm here to say, and I'm going to keep saying it, because I got another case study for you. Now, I had to do this, okay? Had to. When I say had to, I had to gather up this person right here. Girl, I'm giving no damn about no Safari. Who the hell still uses Safari? Mac need to stop with the fucker. Now, I want to give y'all the complete background of what you're about to look at next. Okay. Let me scroll them on up over here. Boom. This right here is the case of a woman who talks about feminism. This is a woman who talks about black women, black man shit. White women, white man, white woman, black man stuff, you know? Patriarchy or this. All while she is working out and putting on makeup and cut her eyebrows. Okay? What is interesting is, why do you see this person across the screen? You done seen Darling Nikki? You done seen all of them? Why is she across the screen? Well, because see, in the Black Woman's Guide, I do talk about how Black women need validation. I talk about how the Black woman got to make sure she got to keep it real. Make sure you see her. Make sure she decorate her background with lights and shit. Just to talk to you and make herself seem like something special. This is the online female that I talk about. This is the online female that nobody in her life and her family likes her. Probably not really respected. More than likely probably fucked the neighborhood or fucked their family members, husbands and wives and shit, whoever. Pretends to be people's friend. Or while low-key sending shots at them. This is the online female I'm talking about right here. Let me tell you something. This is a mammy. Okay? I want to tell y'all something out. Any woman that sits around and talks about males all day is a woman who's fucking them. The more males have not been a part of my life, the less I don't even talk about them. Okay? I don't even talk about them. Quote me on that. The online female, this person right here, I thought they would be a person to talk to, have a casual conversation. I gave him a chance. But let me tell you something. When I see this skin complexion, them big old eyes and them big old nose and them big old lips, that's not a bitch that I fuck with in that fat ass body. I don't fuck with nobody that looks like this. Now, in my work world, I may say hello, hi, how you doing? But I would never fuck with them outside of work. That's how I am. You have to understand, this is a person who says, this goes back to what not to share. Family struggles is number 4. Her dad is a pastor who unalived her mother and her great-grandmother and put her great-grandmother in a closet inside of a wall. Her dad was a Mason that sacrificed them. And her mother died on 666. And we can go on and on and on to her religious ideologies, and she claims she's not religious. This right here, that level of convolution is a sign of a goddamn manipulator. I'm sure she's going to talk to you about her medications. I'm sure she's going to talk to you more about her family struggles and who in the family essayed her, because she did. This is a person that knows when they look in the mirror, at least they feel that they're not pretty and no one's going to look at them. This is a person, no matter how much makeup she puts on, that makeup is her warrior armor to hide. This is a woman who more than likely is wearing that makeup to be in competition with somebody at her job or somewhere that wears makeup. I have been through this, and I'm telling you, the woman looked just like how this woman looked. Look just how this woman looked. This is a dangerous ass mammy. Okay? This is the one, the online female that I talked to you about, who when you meet her, she comes off shy and timid, and she makes you laugh. All the while, she secretly and totally hates you. Because we're going to get into how to tell if someone secretly hates you. And hopefully I have the time. But let me tell you something. Even if there's a phenotype of somebody that you, if I see this when I see this phenotype on a non-black woman, I don't fuck with them. I don't fuck with you if you're fat. Okay? That tells me a lot about yourself. Because when you fat and you putting on makeup, some ain't right there. And you so-called exercising, I don't really know about that. Let's go.
Close to you secretly hates you. In this special video, we will explore the 11 obvious signs that might confirm that uncomfortable feeling. As Carl Jung said, hatred is the most intense form of contempt, and how true that is. Often hatred hides behind a facade of kindness, while that person holds a grudge inside or acts behind your back. But don't worry, because in this video, you will not only learn how to identify those people who hide their hatred, but I will also show you how to act with each type of individual. At the end of
people who study dark psychology and stoicism, if I get through this video, understand that we see it. We know it. Before we opened these books, we knew it existed. Years ago, I studied the book, The Art of Manipulation. And I wish I had a better book because it went into more of the Chinese zodiac. And it was really good. It talked about mirroring and talked about all that stuff. I remember that book. I had it for a long time. And let me tell you something. People who study this type of information, the reason that we go so hard the way that we do is because we constantly see these people and we constantly use them as case studies and such. Let's go. Let me talk too much.
The video, I will reveal the most surprising and common sign that we all overlook, and I will explain how we can use it to our advantage. Before we begin, if you find value in these videos, please subscribe and click the bell to stay updated. Let's get started. First sign, they ignore you in silence. Silence can be more powerful than 1,000 words, especially when it becomes a tool of contempt. Have you ever felt that someone close to you begins to ignore you for no apparent reason? It's as if, suddenly, that person who used to be open and warm becomes distant, almost invisible. Conversations that used to flow effortlessly now reduce to monosyllables, short responses, and evasive glances. This kind of silence is not just an absence of words. It's a clear sign that something deep is happening. This silence isn't just the lack of voice. It becomes an invisible wall separating you from that person. In psychological terms, it is described as a form of passive rejection, something that in many cases can be even more painful than a direct conflict. Did you know that the human brain processes social rejection in a very similar way to physical pain? Even though there are no hurtful words, that uncomfortable silence can make you feel as if you're being emotionally beaten. In ancient Greece, ostracism was one of the harshest punishments. To exclude someone from public life was considered more cruel than death itself, because it involved the removal of one's social identity. In many ways, the rejection expressed through modern silence has an emotional impact equivalent to that. Exclusion, when left unspoken, is a form of emotional torture that can be more devastating than it appears on the surface. So, how do we face this kind of silence? The first step is to be honest with yourself and the other person. If you're being deliberately ignored, it's essential to address the situation calmly and without aggression. Ask straightforwardly, what's going on? Sometimes a direct conversation can open the door to reconciliation or, at the very least, offer clarity on what is truly happening. Communication is the most powerful tool to diffuse the emotional damage caused by silence. However, there are times when, no matter how much you try to talk, the other person will continue with their distant attitude. In those cases, it is crucial to reflect deeply on the situation. If someone continues to treat you badly, ignore you, or make you feel invisible, it may be a sign that it's time to distance yourself. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, put it perfectly. There is nothing nobler than the truth, even though sometimes it hurts. The truth is that you deserve relationships where you're respected and valued. You shouldn't stay in a situation where you feel ignored or emotionally mistreated. When silence becomes a tool of manipulation, the best defense is to prioritize your emotional well-being. If someone is deliberately ignoring you, is it really worth staying there? It is far more valuable to be alone at peace with yourself than surrounded by people who make you feel empty. Emotional peace and self-esteem are priceless, and no human bond should undermine them. Second signal, empty smiles. Have you ever noticed that someone close to you smiles but you don't feel any warmth in that smile? It's as if their facial expression is simply on autopilot. Do you know what I mean? That smile that seems more like a mechanical gesture than a true sign of affection. Well, this could be a sign that this person secretly hates you, but instead of confronting you directly, they hide their true feelings behind an empty smile. The smile is one of the most universal facial expressions. We all understand it, we all use it. But did you know that the way we smile can reveal much more than we think? When someone is truly happy or genuinely glad to see you, that smile reaches their eyes. And here's where it gets interesting. A genuine smile involves both the eyes and the lips, and this is something that psychological studies have clearly demonstrated. Paul Ekman, a famous psychologist and expert in the study of emotions, tells us that there are two main types of smiles: the Duchenne smile, genuine, and the non-Duchenne smile, false. The Duchenne smile involves a contraction of the muscles around the eyes, creating what we know as crow's feet. This smile is warm and authentic. On the other hand, the non-Duchenne smile only involves the contraction of the muscles in the lips. This is the empty smile, which can be used to hide or disguise negative feelings, such as resentment or contempt. Now, how can you tell if someone is giving you an empty smile? Pay attention to the rest of their body. An empty smile is often accompanied by other signs of discomfort: a closed posture, lack of eye contact, or even a cold and distant tone of voice. If they give you an empty smile, but you feel uncomfortable or as if you're being rejected, it's possible that this smile is not as genuine as it seems. I invite you to reflect on this point. Many times people are not comfortable confronting their emotions or problems directly. Instead of being honest and speaking up, they resort to these empty smiles to maintain an appearance of cordiality. But this appearance is far from the reality of what they really feel. Instead of confronting the problem or expressing what they truly think, they choose to hide their feelings behind a false smile. So, what can you do with this information? My advice is not to ignore these types of signals. Non-verbal communication, such as empty smiles, can tell you much more about what that person really feels. If empty smiles are repeated often, there's likely something more going on. It may be time to become more aware of how you feel around this person, and if necessary, talk about how their actions or behaviors are affecting you. Remember the famous quote by Albert Einstein: "Peace cannot be kept by force, it can only be achieved by understanding." The fact that someone smiles at you emptily, without showing true interest, is a clear sign of disconnection. Authenticity is key in any relationship, and if you start noticing these empty smiles, it might be time to question what is really going on behind that expression. Third signal: curt and cold responses. Have you ever noticed that when interacting with someone close to you, the responses you get are cold or evasive? Although it may seem normal at first, it's a clear sign that something isn't right in the relationship. Curt responses are often a silent way of showing disdain, and the source of this behavior is often secret hatred. These responses reflect an emotional strategy of avoidance. The person seeks to keep their distance, avoiding showing interest or empathy. Phrases like "I don't know," "it's fine," or simply silence indicate that the person isn't willing to invest in the relationship. Through these comments, they seek to minimize interactions and keep you emotionally at bay. The goal behind curt responses isn't just disinterest, it's to avoid direct confrontations. Those who secretly hate prefer this evasion rather than expressing their true feelings.
Stop your feet or clap your hands and join us. Come on, get down with us, Supertown. Supertown!
Hello, and thank you for joining us. Today we're going to talk about iPhone. iPhone continues to have such a profound impact on all of our lives.
This behavior makes you feel invisible, emotionally excluded without the need for conflicts. It's important to recognize that these attitudes aren't the result of a bad day, but a conscious decision by the other person. If they respond coldly on a consistent basis, they are projecting a lack of interest toward you, affecting your emotional well-being. As psychologist Daniel Goleman said, "Emotions are contagious," which means that cold attitudes can negatively influence how you feel. In the long run, this type of response creates insecurity, frustration, and stress. It's crucial not to let this behavior become part of your life. If someone responds coldly, it's time to evaluate the value of the relationship. One way to handle this is to be direct but respectful. If you feel uncomfortable with the coldness, express what you feel. For example, "I've noticed that our conversations have changed. Has something happened?" This opens up space for communication without it seeming like an attack, but making it clear that the behavior is affecting the relationship. If the other person remains evasive, It's a sign that the relationship isn't reciprocal. It's important to prioritize your emotional well-being and surround yourself with people who value and respect you. You don't have to stay in a relationship that makes you feel invisible. Fourth signal, they constantly minimize you. Have you ever felt that no matter what you do, that person always seems to take away from your value? This kind of attitude is not only disrespectful, but also reflects an attempt to emotionally dominate you. Instead of supporting you, that person chooses to downplay your efforts, leaving you with the feeling that it's never enough. Psychologists like Albert Ellis, the creator of rational emotive behavior therapy, have highlighted that this type of behavior affects the victim's self-perception, causing them to start doubting their own worth. A common example is when you share an achievement or a project, and the response is something like, "Oh, that's not that impressive," or "Does that make you feel proud?" This kind of comment may seem harmless, but over time, it begins to erode your confidence. It's an emotional game designed to make you feel like you're not good enough. Here's something important to understand. Typically, this behavior comes from insecure people. Those who minimize you often project their own insecurities onto you. Their need to bring you down is directly related to their inability to feel good about themselves. If they couldn't see others as inferior, they would never feel better. It's a defense mechanism that allows them to feel less vulnerable. Imagine a successful person, like a business person who has built their own empire. Do you think this person, someone who has worked hard and achieved significant goals, would take the time to criticize or minimize another person who is trying to start a small business or share a new idea? Most likely, this person would help you, give advice, or even support your efforts. Secure people don't feel threatened by the achievements of others. On the contrary, they feel inspired and look for opportunities to support. If someone constantly minimizes you, it's important to remember that this reflects nothing about you, but about their own limitations. Instead of succumbing to these dismissive comments, the best thing is to strengthen your self-esteem and reaffirm your worth. One way to do this is by responding calmly and assertively. "I understand that you may not see what I did the same way, but for me, this is important, and that's what counts." The most valuable thing is to be clear that no one who is above you in terms of success or personal growth will take the time to criticize you. On the contrary, those people seek to support you and help you improve. If someone constantly minimizes you, it's a clear sign that their insecurity is being reflected onto you. How to face hidden hatred. The key is to set clear boundaries and protect your emotional well-being.
Halsey, live on tour for my last trip. With special
Oh, that was Haley. Okay, I want to add something before they continue talking, because I think I'm going to have to end it here. Anytime you meet somebody, okay, this is why this conversation needs to go behind the temple. But anytime you meet somebody and they begin to start going down the timeline of you, that's a red flag. There's a way that people do things. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'll give you an example, and I can't pull a video right now because I don't really have the time. But it was on Ramsey's Hell's Kitchen, and the guy was like, Ramsey was talking, and he began to say, "Oh yeah, like your daughter such and such, and like your son such and such, and your wife such and such, and oh yeah," start spewing out all these things to Ramsey, and Ramsey was looking at him like, "Damn, you know my wife's name, you know my children's name. Oh yeah, I read your book and this and that." That's the red flags of the beginning of someone who has been hate watching you for a very long time. It doesn't go that way. See, people who sincerely are into somebody, no matter what they've read, no matter what they've seen, no matter interviews they heard, maybe something you said stood out to them. You know, I really like when you had said that. That really changed, that really impacted me, because when you said that, this is something I did when you said that. You know? They actually will sit down and listen to you and really get to know you for you. They don't try to dominate with letting you know how much they know about you. They've been hate watching you. It's a red flag. I'm going to tell everybody that are in platforms like this, any type of hosting, any type of music artistry, or any type of artistry where you have put yourself out there like that, where you've been on people's platforms before and you put yourself out there like that, you have to know when you are in the presence of a fan. You have to speak like that, a fan. You have to be able to recognize when you could possibly be communicating with someone who has been hate watching you. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because it's so subtle the way that they do it. But if you just pay attention enough, you will see it. And the way, and see, the thing is, I told you that mask that they have is going to slip. They're going to be like, yeah, I remember when, that I remember shit. I told you that's the red flag. Or like, and then they do this little retarded giggle behind what they say. That's somebody that's hate watching you. That's someone who's been under you. You see what I'm saying? You have to be mindful of that. People who do shady shit, that say shady shit, are not people to be trusted. They're very unhappy people. Shady, very unhappy. Let me show you. This bitch right here, very motherfucking shady. This bitch has a whole rainbow bonnet on, but ask her what she really, her religious ideology is, what she feel about people who are gay. I mean, make it make sense. I literally just found this video and was like, oh, bitch, you have on a rainbow bonnet. Being shady. And let me tell you something else. When you are in these platforms, don't ever think somebody didn't come and watch you. Don't you ever think that somebody did not come in and listen to the things you had to say, and you may have offended them. And when you come back around, they got to come and offend you. Because that happens too. You can see you're being watched, but you don't know who's watching you. Sometimes I wish that when it comes to, TikTok, you can see who's on your page, who's watching your page and shit like that. But sometimes I wish that when it comes to stuff, YouTube and shit, I wish we can see who's watching us. Even on bloggers, you can see the emails and you can see all the emails of the people who watches your page. Literally. Some people don't know that, but you can. Another thing, that's just one little way to just teach you that, okay? Let's go a little bit.
If someone keeps devaluing your achievements or making you feel small, it's time to reevaluate that relationship. As Seneca said, there is no greater slavery than the one imposed on oneself. Identify the pattern and choose not to allow the insecurities of others to affect your self-esteem. Your value doesn't depend on external validation, but on how you see yourself. Surround yourself with people who support you, and don't hesitate to distance yourself from those who minimize you. Protect your peace and keep moving forward toward your goals. Before moving on to the fifth signal, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel with the bell so you don't miss future videos. And if you enjoy this kind of content as much as I do, comment, "I love wisdom." Let's keep learning together and improving our lives. Fifth signal, unnecessary competition. Have you ever noticed that a certain person always tries to outdo you, even in the most trivial situations? This attitude could reveal a deeper hidden feeling than you might imagine.
Pay attention to this one. This one is a big old whammy. That one is big. It's the little competition that shows someone secretly hates you. See, these are the things I had to learn during my Saturn return. This stuff happened a lot. I go through this a lot right here. I could put on makeup. The next thing you know, here comes some other bitch with makeup and eyeliner on. I sit here and I'm creating something. Here come this person. See, I have to start. These are the memories I start having about certain people or a certain person that was in my life. I was just like, is this person in competition? And more than likely they are. No one should be in competition with you as your friend. No one. There's no reason to be in competition. There's no reason to try to outdo anything. Last year when I had Valentine's with the ex, it's so funny to even say that. I actually enjoy my Valentine's this year way more, and I appreciate my gifts that I have way more. I have new black nail polish. Yes, I'll be using it all next week and putting on some fabulous eyeliner. And I remember after I had my little love bubble Valentine's Day, the next thing you know, this person that was supposed to be a friend ran to go do some kind of Valentine's Day with who they were with. I think I got it.
Imagine this. You're in a meeting with friends and mention that you finally ran 5 kilometers without stopping. Instead of congratulating you, your friend immediately responds, "Oh, that's fine. I ran a half marathon last week." Does this sound familiar? This constant need to surpass your achievements is not just a display of inflated ego, but it could be an indicator of hidden resentment. Unnecessary competition manifests in subtle but constant ways. It could be trying to have the last word in every conversation, or trying to impress your friends more than you do. It's as if they're in an invisible race that you didn't even know you were competing in. So, why would someone act like this? Psychology offers some interesting answers. This compulsive need to outdo you often arises from insecurity and low self-esteem. The person who secretly hates you may feel threatened by your achievements or your personality. Instead of admitting these feelings, they channel them through constant competition. But wait, there's more. This competitive attitude isn't just limited to personal achievements. It can extend to material aspects of life. If you buy a new car, suddenly they need one that's more luxurious. If you mention a trip you're planning, they've already booked a more exotic one. It's as if your happiness is a personal challenge for them. You'll be surprised at how far this competition can go. Even in situations of loss or difficulty, these people will find a way to outdo you. If you share a tough experience, they'll have an even more dramatic story. It's as if they can't allow you to have the spotlight, even in your most vulnerable moments. The irony of all this is that while they try to demonstrate their superiority, they're actually revealing their deep insecurity.
Oh, this is the one I went through. This is the one right here, boy. Uh-oh.
Constant need for comparison and outdoing is exhausting, not only for you, but also for them. It's a vicious cycle of dissatisfaction and resentment that never ends. How should you act in the face of this signal? The key is not to play their game. Recognize their attempts at competition for what they are, a manifestation of their own insecurity. Don't feel the need to justify your achievements or experiences. Your value doesn't depend on being better than anyone. Sixth signal, spreading rumors or talking behind your back. Have you ever felt like your reputation is crumbling without knowing why? We're talking about rumors and gossip behind your back, a social poison that spreads silently. Imagine for a moment that your words and actions are like seeds. In the hands of someone who appreciates you, these seeds are cultivated carefully, growing into positive stories about you. But when they fall into the hands of someone who holds a grudge, those same seeds can turn into toxic rumors that spread like weeds. Rumors are particularly harmful because they have the power to alter the perception others have of you without giving you the opportunity to defend yourself.
All right, we're going to leave it there because that leaves something. Because I'm going to tell you something. I don't have compassion for people like this. I want y'all to understand that when I talk about this. I have no compassion for people like this. I make no excuses for people like this. And I want you to do the same thing. I need you to see it as what it is. Because as soon as you begin to have what? Sympathy plus guilt equals obligation. Don't have no sympathy or guilt, obligation, compassion, nothing for these people. Because that is what's going to fuck you up. It's going to fuck you up bad. You need to see them for the spirits that they are. You need to see them. Don't do no prayer of they know not what they do. They very much know what the fuck they do. Okay? And I need you to be honest with yourself and your own internal things that's reflecting back to you with even attracting someone like this in your world, in your life. And I promise you, this will be the beginning of letting it all go, but more than anything, healing what's within you that is broken that you may have not seen. Healing what's in you that was feeling sorry, having sympathy, being manipulated through feeling sorry and guilt and all this type of shit. Because no one is worthy of that. Unless this is your partner and you like, hey, I'm willing and I'm able with you, then that's different. But as far as like this, the internet female and the online dude and all that stuff I explained to you, hell nah. They don't get your compassion. When we do the next show, we're going to get further into this. All right, y'all. Enjoy your night. V314 Bad Bitch Craft Radio. Signing off. Yeah, man.